I would like to say that we have dark humor.
I would absolutely agree with you.
I think that
You look like you're full of it right now. I'm just waiting for you to say, hear me out.
A lot of times we have some dark jokes that we just be saying off camera.
Absolutely.
That it's not even, sometimes it don't even make us laugh.
Sometimes I don't even think they're going to come to the light of the camera, and then here you are.
Sometimes you don't even laugh. You're just like, wow. The following joke made me laugh.
Oh. Was it a joke I told? Or did you turn it into a joke after I told you a story?
You told me this joke, and I was dying laughing. But it's a little dark.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
It's a little sensitive because of the context. But you were talking about your uncle who was cremated. He died.
He did. I have one of those.
And you told me how they did the ceremony. And they, I guess they chose to dump the ashes in the ocean or a lake. It was the ocean.
The ocean.
And what did you?
Fact.
What did you? What? I'm just saying it was a very serious conversation we were having. This was not a comedic conversation. We were talking about death or cremation or something. You talked about your uncle who got spread into the ocean.
I said, what if when he was alive he couldn't swim?
You said the ghost. The ghost was looking down like, hey, I can't swim. That made me cackle.
I'm so ashamed of myself.
So that kind of begged a bigger question to me because I've been having this conversation a lot. And as we're in the dark vein right now, it was this all came from talking about the slave trade and how a lot of slaves were thrown overboard.
Right.
And just in general, when boats were the main travel between ships sinking and people being thrown overboard. And even cruise ships. A lot of people are being thrown over cruise ships or falling off.
Really?
I think that some of the people who are falling off were thrown over because it's really hard to fall over those.
So you don't think any of those are like committing suicide?
Suicide maybe, but sometimes I think that they try to pass it off as they were drunk and fell over. But I do think that there's sometimes it's just dark on a cruise ship. You throw somebody over and you can just say whatever because it takes too long to turn around.
Stuck in the blade.
Some of that's dark. I don't know if they get sucked into the propeller. I don't know if that's how boats are. But a lot of times they don't be pulling around in time. So my question, and it's not a comedic question. This is a thinker.
All right.
If I'm thrown off of a boat, if you throw me off of a boat and I drown in the ocean, do I haunt that boat or do I haunt the ocean?
This is definitely not a serious question.
I mean, it's not comedic. It's just, but I do. It's more like
Patrick.
How does that work? Like, does the ocean have ghosts?
Why do you not know where to haunt? You're really trying to.
But I don't know.
You're
the
trying
rules.
to make the haunting playbook for the afterlife.
I don't know the rules because it's like
there are no rules.
Do you haunt the ship and risk the ship being broken down into nothing? Or you know what I mean? Or you just
There's plenty of
a ghost on a
haunted-
cruise ship? How stupid is that? The nigga who threw you off, he's gone. This is a whole new group of people. Or do you haunt the ocean? Do you believe that every living thing has a soul?
Yes.
So fish have souls.
Absolutely.
So there's fish ghosts, right?
Yes.
So if a fish dies unnaturally, if we pull every fish that we pull out and eat, there should technically be a ghost. Maybe some ghost whales, maybe some ghost sharks, because I feel like if you eaten by another animal, you good. You just go to fish heaven. But if you die unnaturally or are you still confused, we were just talking about how some fish are depressed. There's a lot going on in this ocean that we don't know. Maybe there's fish ghosts. So I beg the question, are there nigga ghosts? And I say nigga for everybody. So let me just clarify. Yeah. Are there people ghosts in the ocean, floating around, not really knowing what to hunt because the ocean's too damn big and there ain't no humans in it. Maybe that's why fish have big eyes.
Because they're seeing all the ghosts.
Maybe they see ghosts.
I don't know, but I feel like maybe, just maybe, they might haunt the person that threw them overboard.
Oh, so follow them home?
If they were gonna haunt anybody, I think they'd haunt the person that caused their death.
So ghosts would be just tied to that person, or can you follow them home? Like, can you die, lift out your body, go through all the ocean because you're at the bottom of the ocean, and you're like, damn, this is crazy. Get on the boat. Well, now you're just like chilling on the boat.
I feel like most people who do pass away from violent crimes is not necessarily a stranger who did it. So I think that if somebody was thrown overboard, that person might actually know who that person was.
But how do you get there?
However ghosts get anywhere.
So do you think...
I really feel I have the philosophy, if as far as I can believe into the paranormal, because I am a skeptic.
You don't think there's ghosts?
I do.
We should have started there.
I'm not as strongly connected to the philosophy behind how they move, as it just seems like kind of just like...
So if you were to put your bid in, would it be like you wake up from your body, you look at your body, and then you follow that nigga home? So you got to get on the boat, follow him to his house?
No,
or do you think you go to like a check-in, like a DMV, and then go to their house?
I feel like they're free roaming. I don't feel like they need to jump onto a car. I feel like that's what we do as people. We have to utilize certain transportation to get to where we want to go.
But you still have to know where they're going.
As far as ghosts are concerned, or spirits for the afterlife, I feel like they're free roaming, and they can fly, and they can just go wherever they need to go. I feel like if they're connected to the person who caused their physical demise, that they know exactly where they need to go.
So they're like, I don't even have to follow this person home. I know where they going, so I can take my time, fly a couple places first, do some errands, then haunt the... Because they be making it seem like you tied to that person, and you got to haunt them because of stuff that you can't even get away from. But you saying that ghosts are more freelance than we think, and they're going around doing whatever they want, and then they choose to go back to that house and turn a faucet on to scare this nigga.
I feel like if ghosts are around and they choose to, I feel like it's a choice. They choose to physically haunt somebody. I feel like they're doing it because there's an unresolved issue that they didn't get to, when they were alive. So with that being said, they're going to haunt that person for the rest of their life, or until they're satisfied with the amount of horror that they've inflicted.
What if there was some pussy that was unresolved? You know what I mean? What if everything was going right, but there was some...
And it begins.
There was a baddie that was about to throw that thing at you, and you like, man, I'm about to get that. Like, it was that night, and then a nigga murder you around 11 a.m., and you like, man, there's some unresolved pussy out there. Are you a ghost trying to figure out how you can get your dick wet one more time before you can move on?
You tell me, because I don't have a dick. So I don't know how strong
there's no unresolved dick for you?
No. There's no unresolved dick.
There's never been okay, obviously they'll try to get to it as fast as possible, but there's never been a dick you've been trying to get to and it was unresolved, something fizzled out, and you're like, damn, if I died right now, I'd be a ghost because of that penis.
Nope.
So it's all gotten to you.
The dick I really wanted, I've gotten. Unresolved dick, and I think it's kind of easier for us to do maybe than
for sure.
Guys. So
it's a journey for us. It's a request for you guys.
Yeah, and then for me specifically, when it comes to the dick I've wanted, it's been more than just dick. I've actually gotten to know that person, kind of like that person or whatever, and then it happened.
You guys find a way to just tie some romance and some...
I mean, because that's for me. I can only speak for myself. Now, I do know there are plenty women out there, and I don't shame them for just, getting your issue, and that's it. I think we've all done that.
Get in your issue and shoot it into the tissue.
Tissue. Is the tissue made of rubber? Sorry.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm glad we cleared that up.
Did we clear it up?
Whatever we cleared up.
So you feel like you're more clear about the ghosts?
Ghostly oceans? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not really.
No.
I think I sorted some stuff out.
I just want to know.
You just kind of threw some stuff in there. That's cool. I'm glad I got it off my chest.
Oh, okay, good. I hate that might have been haunting you.
Well, I still feel that the ghost might be haunted.
Haunting you?
Oh, okay. Well,
wow.
My thread today is from a woman at Little Mermaid XXXXX.
Oh.
And this is how I got in
freak.
This is how I got in the porn industry at 18 years old.
I knew it's super freak.
I've always wanted to know how the intro, you know. I've heard a couple stories, but this is a first-hand POV.
This is where your life shifted. Got it.
What about you?
Mine is titled, I Got Too Scared and Forgot to Kill Myself.
Forgot or got too scared to kill myself?
Got too scared and forgot to kill myself. This is a Reddit thread.
I feel like if I was gonna kill myself, I feel like it would be easy to be scared. You know, I can see why somebody would be mentally pushed to that point. Mm-hmm. But you know, there are a lot of cases of people kind of like just saying, you know, never mind at the last second, or even being talked out of it, which is great. I love those stories about the random person who goes to a bridge and talks the people out of it.
So there's I was watching this article about Suicide Bridge, and I forget where Suicide Bridge is, but obviously the name speaks for itself.
I think it's in Pasadena.
I don't think it's in Pasadena.
It's not out here?
I don't think so. I think it might be up north.
Suicide Bridge.
I'm not sure. But, you know, plenty of people go there to commit suicide. And the people who survived said literally as soon as they jumped, they regretted it.
And maybe that's why they survived. Maybe that's how God works. Mm-hmm. Maybe if he's like, hey, you've made up your mind, I'll take you. And it's all good. Mm-hmm. But if you really don't want to, and he feels like you can pull yourself out of it, he'll help you out. Couple broken legs, maybe, you know. But okay. Do we need to do Rochambeau? I feel like mine's more fun.
Do you want me to go first?
No, I'm saying, do you want to start? You want to start with the suicide?
I can go first, and we can end on a lighter note.
I was preferring me go first, but it's.
Why would you want to end with suicide?
I don't want to begin with that. We were just talking about fish ghosts.
So let me ask you this. When somebody says, I have good news and bad news, what do you ask for first?
Bad news.
Exactly.
Right, but so you can
end on a good note.
What I'm asking to hear isn't content for people to watch.
I feel like if
I were to curate, because we don't be knowing these topics ahead of time, if I were to curate a person's mood, I would take them from fish ghosts to mine, whatever it was.
Well, if you're hell bent on,
and then I would end on the suicide.
Okay. Well,
but if you let's just do Rochambeau then.
Okay.
Rochambeau.
Nope. It's afterwards.
Oh, you're right. Okay. Rochambeau, boom. Ka-cha.
You got it.
Oh, thank God.
Do you see how I gave it to you? I didn't hold it from you. You have stripped me of that when I've won. I just want you to know that.
Okay.
Don't ever do that to me again. If we Rochambeau and I win with a piece of paper and a rock, you better give me that rock.
Well, here's the thing. When we did it the first time, and also I didn't say anything, I got scissors and you did this. So I would have won. So I technically didn't put you through that because when I did that, you were like, I would have won if blah 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 blah. That would have been a disqualification. So I won and then took it back with nothing, and I still didn't say anything after. But you still took it upon yourself to mention it after the fact. So you didn't really give me anything, but a hard time. But I won. So.
But a hard dick. No.
I'll tell you. I'll talk about someone.
I didn't need a response.
I'll talk about someone who did give people a hard dick. Let's talk about Aria Lily, aka Little Mermaid, XXXX. How I got in the porn industry at 18 years old, and then it has a emoji of the little spool, which means a thread. Mm-hmm. That's our.
Very nice.
That's our new emoji. If you guys didn't know, threadheads, appreciate y'all for using that. All right, what seems to amaze most people is when I tell them that I always knew I wanted to do this job. I first watched porn when I was 10 years old, and I was hooked.
Interesting childhood.
I have probably watched porn every day since then for the past 8 years.
That's a problem.
I love it, absolutely.
Big problem.
I see sex as a form of expression of my thoughts and feeling, and I want to share that with the world. I've never watched porn and been like, I know exactly what she's thinking.
No.
But I didn't want to do it.
I'm open to hearing what she has to say about this process.
But I didn't want to do it for some studio. I wanted to do this for myself and be my own director. That's when I heard about OnlyFans and my life changed forever. Now, as a non-porn star, I can see the appeal of OnlyFans because I heard that before that, you basically had to be a producer. Like, Bang Bros, all these people, they were just taking submissions of fully done videos. A lot of us think that being a porn star was like a rapper. Nah, being a porn star was being like P. Diddy. You had to hire your crew. You had to do all that stuff. You had to invoice. So OnlyFans lets you do all that. It takes the production value down. You got amateur porn. I could set up my own shots. Oh, I would be talk about being in the top 0.0%. 0%.
0.01.
Yeah, 0. I had my major boom when I was 16.
Pervs.
I started taking photos and videos of me all the time. I never shared them, but I like the process of taking them. This is weird, but this is real. This is how life is. I even took videos with the sex toy that Mac had gifted me on my 13th birthday.
Mac?
I still use it to this day.
Who the hell is Mac?
A nigga that needs jail.
Right. Unless he was 13 at the time he gave it to her.
A sex toy? How'd he get it? Somebody needs jail.
Somebody, but it might not be him, just in case.
I see porn as a form of art, and I am obsessed with it. I lost my virginity at 12 to a boy we'll call Mac.
Well, it speaks volumes.
And I had it, and I had even asked him if he wanted to do it with me. Obviously, we never went through with it, but I was really into it.
Honey,
he said
it is
obvious.
not obvious.
She gave you so
unless she's famous, it doesn't. I don't know.
Just like Grizzly Tales, there's some darkness to this.
Okay.
A lot of these ages ain't of age, but that's how a lot of people get into it.
Right. On
my 18th birthday a month ago, I started my OnlyFans account and it gained a lot of traction. One day, however, a fan sent me a picture which included his face. You know what that is. And I realized that it was my teacher. I'm still in high school. I didn't comment on it, but he obviously realized. So Mr. McGregor or whatever, he went balls to the wall, literally.
But why would he send a picture to her and she's underage at the time?
No, you can't start OnlyFans unless you're 18.
Oh.
So he's 18, but the craziest part is that he was probably her teacher. Let's say her birthday was February.
Right.
You done went all semester with this child that clearly this dude's a predator. She turns 18, starts at OnlyFans. Not only do you subscribe, which is weird, you send a DP.
I mean, that's like Players Club. Did she get this from Players Club? Remember when Diana was dancing, her teacher walked in and she ran out?
But strip club is different because I feel like if you creepy or if you just horny, you might dip off to the strip club. But watching your student turn 18 and subscribe and start sending her dick pics, knowing you got to see her on Monday.
Sent a dick pic with his face in it?
It said one day a fan sent me a picture which included his face.
Oh, okay.
On OnlyFans, are people sending just regular photos? Look at my fit check.
I didn't know they could send pictures on OnlyFans.
I don't know.
I don't.
says-
I don't know, but I don't believe they can. So
It
she
says
might be
I
kinda
started.
cat.
It says I started my OnlyFans account and it gained a lot of traction. One day, however, a fan sent me a picture. So it didn't say a picture on OnlyFans.
Oh.
Just said sent me a picture. Included his face. I realized it was my teacher, still in high school. So the fact that she realized it makes me think that the focus was on something else.
Yeah.
AKA dick and balls.
Got it.
This happened on Saturday.
Twig and berries.
I already knew because I even said you got to see her on Monday. So Friday. Thank you guys. Have a good weekend. Sent the
Yikes.
dick pic on Saturday. Monday morning, my mom got a call from the school saying I have been expelled because some students have reported that I have an OnlyFans.
Okay.
But I think you and I both know that there were no students.
Right.
Well, you think that the teacher could have done that?
No. Honestly, you know why? Because if we go with the philosophy that you're saying that he sent a twig and berry photo along with his face, I don't
think he would say
then
anything?
see why he would go to the principal's office and be like, this person has an OnlyFans after he sent a dick pic to her.
But it said I didn't comment on the picture, and he's obviously realized. And then the next day, So you don't
that
think?
immediately outs him.
But
as
apparently,
he would get fired.
It said some students reported that I have an OnlyFans, so he did it anonymously.
But I'm saying I don't understand why he would do that if he sent. It didn't even matter. Like,
Oh, honestly,
why would he? He had no reason to say anything.
I've actually been seeing this type of promo where it would be like, girl fired from her job at the
police department
because she started an OnlyFans.
Right.
And that was the promo for her OnlyFans.
Right.
So I could totally see this being a thing,
I feared that I was going to get fired from my job back when I posed. This was the first photo shoot I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And I got the cover of the magazine, Smooth Girl magazine.
And you were a therapist?
It was my first. Well, I got hired as a therapist after the photo shoot. So I graduated from grad school. I couldn't find a job. I met this casting director for Smooth Girl magazine, and he was like,
Did you have to be smooth? Did they do like a rub test and they'd be like, oh, you got eczema. You can't.
I don't have eczema,
I'm not
so I
saying
think
you.
I passed the test just naturally. He was like, hey, do you want to pose for a magazine? I was like, what magazine? He was like, Smooth. I would recognize. I already knew what Smooth was, and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, I've never done this before. I've never done a photo shoot before, so I don't
first
really
photo
know.
shoot ever was for
Very
a
first
magazine
photo
cover?
shoot. Yeah, on the magazine
Okay.
cover it says, "Shh, it's their first time."
What
on
you
the
mean?
cover, it says, "It's their first time." It
Like-
lets you know on the cover it was my first photo shoot.
Oh, why would they do that?
So, because it's interesting. Like, most chicks
people
who
could be like,
model
"Oh,
don't
look,
get
she
a
nervous as
magazine
hell."
cover their very first
Hell
photo
nah.
shoot.
Hell
So,
nah.
my very first photo shoot, I got the cover of a magazine.
Stunt.
I didn't expect to get the cover of the magazine. I expected to be in the magazine, but
Right.
I thought one of them bad bitches before was going to get the cover.
Ooh, you know they was steaming.
Oh, man. I don't know, but they gave it to me. I didn't want it. I didn't want the cover.
Oh, that probably made them even more mad.
Because I didn't want that. I didn't want the reputation. I didn't want to be seen like that, but I did it. I actually did it as revenge to an ex-boyfriend who had cheated on me.
Oh, extra
I was
revenge.
like, yeah. So I was like, oh, yeah, I'll pose for this, and some little lingerie, covered up titties with my arm or whatever, just to get back at him because I was in a dark place in that relationship.
Okay. So what happened?
So I got the cover. Then 5 months later, I got hired as a therapist. Then the cover came out. And I was like a wreck. Like, oh my God, I just got this job. Like, I'm going to get fired because, this is unethical for this type of job, And maybe 4 months in, a kid saw the magazine, the cover of a magazine at the barber shop.
A kid that you were
No,
working with?
he was
Okay.
he was in a different unit. He was a teenager. Saw the cover of a magazine in a barber shop.
Well, that conversation must have
and
been crazy.
It spread like wildfire at the job. And my supervisors brought me in and was like, well, we just got word that, you posed for a magazine. And I'm like, ah, shit. I thought I was going to get fired, but they didn't fire me.
Okay.
And they said because this was done before I got hired.
Ooh, so past don't matter.
Yeah, but it resurfaced every year I worked there. It resurfaced. They called.
Were the same people working there, or did you have to convince
same
different
people were working there, but kids, like they came and went. They recycled in and out, and so every now and then it was like every year I had to have a meeting about this same magazine because I never did it again after that. Like that, I did like some small work, but nothing on a major platform like that. And multiple magazines had asked me to do it, but I was like, nope, I work here, so I never did it again. But I feared so bad that I was going to get fired for posing semi-nude.
So you only had the one bump, and then it kept coming back, but it never became an issue again.
Right.
Well, that's good. That is.
But
good.
if I would have kept doing it, I probably would have lost my job.
I mean, that's just how corporate works. I wish it wasn't like that.
But I was extra careful.
I think that it's now that social media is a thing. I feel like and this isn't to say that this is what you were doing, but I feel like it's time to have other conversations about like that kind of stuff, the OnlyFans stuff, even like going as far as to say like the Pornhub stuff, because it's so weird how like the porn industry has led so many factors of the industry in terms of like the layout. Like a lot of people don't even realize this, but like there are websites that pretty much set the blueprint of how all of our websites and how we even digest content on Instagram and all of these things. And it's just so crazy how in the corporate world it's so frowned upon and all this kind of stuff. And it's so backwards because I think that it just comes down to people being embarrassed that they are participating in that stuff, and that's why there are politicians making all these laws and stuff. It's
considered unethical for obvious reasons. For certain professions, I feel like you shouldn't have one. Honestly, I feel like for certain professions, for most, I feel like it's fine.
It's fine.
But certain
it's like tattoos.
ones,
to me, it feels like tattoos. Like I feel like when I was a kid, I knew that tattoos were fine, but it seems like everybody knew that like in a business setting, you can't do that. So even though basic, society knew that it was fine, it just seemed like in corporate situations, you had to be like more fake and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we saw that evolve into what it is now, which is like the most corporate situations are allowing tattoos. I think that that movement is going to go through, similar things in the sense that it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, because so many people have one,
and it's so important to life. People just aren't realizing that. I don't understand what's crazy about it. I talked to someone who was kind of like in the porn industry before the OnlyFans, and it's crazy how much, like, we think about just the U.S., right? But there are so many other countries that go crazy on porn because of their societal norms. And it's like, if they're not allowed to do certain things, or if they're not, like, even interracial porn was not really a big thing because it wasn't really allowed. U.S. is the one that's like, even as crazy as it is over here, we're the ones that are the most lenient about it. There are places that you could die from doing that shit.
Absolutely, and
if you can die, we don't even know what that's like. If you can die because of who you date and all that stuff, then the porn is going to go crazy for that kind of stuff. So I think that there's just something to be said about the industry and all the industries that are surrounding that, with even modeling, all that kind of stuff, just in terms of like how much it's consumed and how much people are obsessed with it versus how it's accepted, because it's a weird.
Well, Beyonce rapped about it. I mean, rapped. Well, it kind of.
She be rapping.
She had a little rap. But I think when she mentioned it, kind of shed a different light. Even though, I had looked up something about OnlyFans, and the average person was making like $75 a month on
Damn.
OnlyFans, and I was like, that shit's not fucking worth it. It's
Right.
not worth it. If you're not making a considerable amount, I feel like it's just not worth it.
Because
to
of the
even get
cons,
into.
you know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, I wouldn't shame it to the point where it's like, ideally, you jump into it, you make a shitload of money. You know what I mean? But
Not
those
the
are-
average person. Don't.
That's very specific.
It
You know what I mean?
doesn't.
I'm going to shove that over to you. That's very specific. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. So I think that it would be dope if it was looked at like Twitch or YouTube. It's like something you have to build. You have to build your fan base. It's not just about being the finest woman on the planet and then announcing you're doing this and getting $1 million a month. You know what I mean?
I think when it comes to that type of stuff, though, it's like
You don't wanna build for too long.
You don't, because I mean, where do you start? Like,
Right.
start your build. You're gonna cap at some point in time, unless you just doing something crazy different than what.
I don't think so. I don't necessarily think so. Because I
definitely think so.
I
Because
think that-
sometimes once people see what they want to see, they out, and that shit can get old really fast. And so if you're gonna build, you better be unique and creative in the way you build. Just like everybody on YouTube who builds is not gonna become, a YouTube sensation
But I think
or
it's
a
the
YouTube
same.
star.
You have to do something unique and creative to stand out. And I think you are right, because a lot of times it is as black and white as I want to see the titties. You see them and you out. But if that person is being creative and, like you said, people are going to stick around. I think it's the same with the YouTube channel. If you do one thing, if you have one joke, and that's me, you go,
Right.
like you're going to have to switch it up at some point. But I think my main point is that if it was just looked at similarly as building your Twitch or your YouTube, I think it would be less shit
Like
on
it-
than
yeah.
it is, and I think I would like to see it like that, because these
Well,
numbers
it's
can't
more-
these
yeah.
numbers can't lie.
Of course, it's sensationalized. It's intimacy. It's romance. It's sex. It's, it's titillating. Like, so.
Tit.
Yeah. Titillating. So I think people want to see that type of stuff, and they want to see it. That's why you see a lot of celebrities come out with, their OnlyFans and doing, numbers with those.
Big
Some
numbers.
people, just as soon as they become 18, as soon as they turn 18, OnlyFans popping. Bad baby.
Bad Bobby. Baby.
Bad what?
Bad. I was
Bad
saying
Bobby?
Bobby. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You called her Bobby?
I don't know how to pronounce it because it has
Baby?
Bad has an H in it, so I don't know if it's bad or Bahad. Baby seems like it could be Bobby. I don't know. If it's Bad Baby, my bad.
And there's quite a few celebrities. There was one chick, I forgot, Bella Thorne? Is that her name? No.
The
She
Asian
didn't.
girl?
No, not her. There was another chick, white girl, who came out one. I think she made like a couple million in one day, but she didn't really show shit, and people got
and she
mad.
got scammed. Yeah. People think she was
People
scamming.
got mad.
Yep.
OnlyFans changed.
I can't be
up
mad
their
at that.
whole-
If you got that type of hype around your titties and you
I
decide
don't
not to
think
show them,
it's not just titties.
There's
There's quite a few things.
Yeah,
that
your
you can
pussy,
show
your
outside
butthole, whatever it is,
of
but
that.
just get your money.
But they ended up changing their whole
They're trying to get
rules and stuff because of what she did and how many chargebacks they got off of her manipulation. I would
wow.
say,
That's kind of crazy.
yeah, it's crazy. But what else does the porn star do? So she's smashing on camera when she turned 18.
Yeah, and that's why she got kicked out of school.
Okay.
And she said, even though it's impacting my public image, I don't care. This is my life, and I enjoy doing this like nothing else.
Wait, public image.
She
Her
just got-
public image is because of OnlyFans. So what?
She got kicked out of school.
Oh,
If you
when
do
you say
OnlyFans,
public in my public image, I'm thinking
nigga, if you go into high school and you're doing porn online and
You're right.
you get kicked out, that's your public
You're
image.
right. You're right. I've just looked at which is this affecting my public image as if people really care.
She said, I bring joy and happiness to my fans and will continue to do it. Love y'all.
Do your thing, boo.
I'm not mad at it. I like the comments. I F with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
think
shit.
that,
It's one of those. If
I
you
don't
like
mind
it, I
it.
love it.
I'm not tripping, so I don't see why anybody else could trip.
People trip because society frowns upon sex workers. So
that's what I was saying. We just need to loosen them rules up.
I mean, I agree.
All right, well,
for obvious reasons.
What you got? What you got for us, P?
So my thread is I got too scared and forgot to kill myself. Story time.
Oh shit. All right, let's do it.
So a few hours ago, I called crisis services. I was genuinely considering killing myself and had nobody to talk to and just needed a voice and someone to listen. They said they'd send a volunteer to take me to get help, and they'd meet me at the corner of my street so my roommates wouldn't have to know. I get there, and there's cops waiting outside. They get out, walk up, and ask to see my hands while reaching for handcuffs. I look around, there's cop cars coming, fire trucks, and they're all reaching for batons or flashlights and handcuffs. So I obviously fucking run.
Wow.
I'm hiding behind cars and in between houses. They're at my house talking to my roommates about me, and I had to sneak in a side door and hide in the attic since it's snowing. I finally found a place I can go to for counseling tomorrow. But when somebody asks for help, why do they pull up like I belong in prison and go for batons? I called for help not to get fucking jumped by the police or arrested. Everyone sees me as crazy, and now I get why. I just wish they would see it through my eyes and not belittle me for it. Just to be clear, I'm good right now and not really looking for a pity party. Processing everything and found a place to go for my counseling and maybe some antidepressants and mood stabilizers tomorrow. Just need to find somewhere else to live. I'm way too embarrassed to leave my room at all and show my face to anyone I know. This has just been a wild night.
Shit, I'd move too. Number one.
Well, the thing is, imagine so for me, it's like
who called it on?
He did. He called because he was suicidal,
right.
And he's like, okay, maybe I don't want to follow through with
did
this,
all
but
that?
it's like they did all that.
They embarrassed the hell out of him,
right? So it's like, but then it begs the question: if you're suicidal, like, how do you get scared of dying? Like, at that point, he felt like,
Well, no, I think it's what we were talking about earlier. I think that when you're in the moment of I'm about to fuck it, I'm gonna end it all. To me, the thought of no, don't do it is God. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you could not have, if you plan that, and I feel like a lot of it is planned. You know what I mean? A lot of it is just like mind made. If your mind is made, a lot of people are just like, this is the time and I'm doing it. If you get to that moment where you planned it, you got to that time and you were like, what am I thinking? And you were okay with it. And then all of a sudden you were like, don't do this. That's God to me. I wouldn't blame that on anything else.
Honestly, so, I feel like in that moment he had the will to live.
Right.
And that's one of the most important aspects of the story is like, okay, I'm down, I'm out, I'm just ready to end it all. And then, I call, and now the fact that it could be in someone else's control, whether I live or not, is now a stacked fear. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to do this. So I wonder if it was a blessing in disguise that this happened, even though I find it completely inappropriate for them to show up on a suicidal call like that.
Why not just show up with somebody? Like, he already said he don't want to do it, so why not show up and just be like, hey, we're going to take you in, you good?
I don't know. I don't really know where they do that at, because
they busted like the SWAT team.
I've definitely called. Right, that's what it sounds like. I've definitely called. Like I said, as a therapist, I definitely had suicidal clients.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it has been for attention. Look at me. I need someone to focus on me, pay attention to me. I need this.
Yeah.
Not to dismiss it, but, even a cry for attention is a cry for help.
Yeah.
So you have that aspect, and then you have the ones that are really serious about, going through with it. And that's when you call, because the behavior is a little different from the one who's seeking attention and the one who's actually, ready
They're
to.
not seeking attention. That's when I'm scared.
But every time that I've called, They didn't send the fire trucks. They didn't send,
This seems
all
excessive.
these people. Yeah, they just sent a couple officers. They didn't. We were the mental health professionals. They didn't call any other to come out, which I definitely feel like the police department needs a mental health professional to come out on suicidal calls, because I don't think officers are trained to be able to talk
at
people
all.
down or talk people out of those situations.
The
And
same way they
sometimes
bring out hostage negotiators, they need
Yeah.
to send out like suicide negotiators.
Right. And I think when you bring out someone who's more of a mental health professional, there's not this aggressiveness that just comes with even just the physical being of an officer. Officers can look very intimidating.
Yeah.
So I think, having all of those and fire trucks blaring and everything like that, although I
Stressful.
feel like it's extremely inappropriate, I feel like it gave him that, oh shit, maybe I do really want to live,
Yeah, it definitely makes your life feel worth something if all this stuff is to prevent you from killing yourself. So I don't disagree with sending a bunch of officers, but I think it's just the SWAT team approach that if you didn't say you were on a building
Right.
or like about to shoot yourself and a bunch of people,
Right.
I don't see that amount of urgency. I don't see the reason to scare somebody. But if you sent a couple squad cars and they were just all checking on you and making sure you were good and all that stuff, even if you got rid, because it seemed like he was embarrassed.
Right.
So even if you said, forget the I don't care about this person being embarrassed in front of their apartment. If they move, whatever, as long as they feel like there are people about to show up for you and you don't need to do this, I think that's the main thing that was got across. So yeah, it sucks that he was embarrassed, but I do like that he was shown the extents that people will go to make sure that he was alive.
And I wonder if that's a technique that anyone uses.
Seems
it's
expensive.
it's not anything that I've heard of before, but I wonder if there's a technique that is used to kind of deter people from committing suicide by taking the choice away from them.
I wouldn't doubt it, but
know?
I feel like the choice wasn't taken away from them.
However,
I feel like they already said they didn't want to do it.
there is suicide by cop, which
Yeah.
is there are people who will antagonize people who are truly suicidal, will antagonize police.
Oh, so you think they were doing that for themselves, to protect themselves? That's interesting, because I have heard about that, and I always thought that was like a interesting way, because you're just like, you're giving the choice to somebody else, but it's also like if you have some type of view against authority or government, you might feel justified in shooting at the police. So I could see how they would take the abnormal lengths to protect themselves going in and making sure it ain't that. So I think you just threw a wrench in my plans with that last one.
What was your plans?
No, I mean just what I thought. I think that's actually very logical to come in safe, because somebody who's saying they want to kill themselves could potentially be a violent.
It's really heartbreaking to see when you actually are around someone who feels like that. It's very heartbreaking to see, and
No way out.
and yeah, because it's very delicate in that you don't know the type of effect that you will have on them no matter what you say, because anything that you can say can be used in the opposite way. So you have to be very delicate, very careful when you talk to someone who is actively suicidal, and because you want them to feel heard, you want them to feel important, you want them to feel the will to live, you want to show them emotions are temporary and they're constantly changing. So just because you feel like this today doesn't mean you're going to feel like this tomorrow. And sometimes you have to remind them, hey, you don't always feel like this. This is just a temporary emotion. Even for those who have had consistent depression, wake up every day feeling somber, there still are lights in the day that I think oftentimes gets overshadowed with negativity. It's like how we respond to social media sometimes. It is very easy to see there's 1,000 comments of positivity and then 2 comments that are negative.
You
and
wanna
those
focus
2
on
comments,
those, yeah.
you focus on the negative. So I think sometimes just showing that yeah, there's a light at the end of the tunnel can kind of help shift that mindset, but it's very delicate. It's very sensitive, and hopefully, there are sources out there. You can call the suicidal hotline if you are feeling suicidal. Please, seek help with the suicide hotline, and just know that there's more to live for. So
I feel it. Well, I'm glad that guy's doing okay. All right. Well, I equally enjoyed both of our threads.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a winner today.
No.
So I feel like let's just do one fact each, since we both came with the heat.
Okay. Well, did I just laugh like you?
I don't know. How do I laugh?
Ew.
How do I laugh? Yeah, then you did.
I think I just did that.
All right. I'm going to go first.
Okay.
I got my fact pulled up already.
All right.
This is a medieval time fact. We're going with the facts. Bras were called breast bags in medieval times. So you would have had a Triple H breast bag.
The fact that
What's your bra size?
34S.
S. Damn, H is early in the alphabet for you.
Yeah, you way off.
You have an S?
Yeah.
I didn't know I didn't.
Well, you sound like a comment right now.
S is so far away from A. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I thought, because usually when people be like, I got a triple I, it'd be like huge ass bazongas. But you got a
triple I
damn
is
S.
gigantic,
That's in
if there's a
Q4
triple
of
I.
the alphabet. That's in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I know. I am aware of how large.
You got a
I got a Stephanie. Yes, breast bags. So I honestly feel like that probably might be more comfortable than the traditional bra, but
a breast bag. I think they were less comfortable. I think they
I
had
don't
chain
know.
mesh and iron in them, like a what are those those knights?
I didn't think of a bag as chains, but okay.
All right, what you got?
Cockroaches clean themselves after touching a human.
Imagine the scientist that found that out. It just touched them and then said, "Ugh," and we were like,
Start rubbing.
that probably flipped his whole world upside down. Wow, that makes me feel horrifying. Cockroaches touch us and are like, that nigga grazed me.
How
Wow.
cockroaches get grossed out by us and they be in the slums?
Well, think about it. Think about how nasty you have to be to even have cockroaches. I didn't think about the roaches judging you. Like, they get called in and they're like, ugh, you nasty as hell. We all here
Right.
because you stink. We all here because you leave food out. It's delicious, but you nasty as hell. Ugh, don't touch
I'll
me.
eat your food, but
I'll
I don't
eat your
want to
food.
touch you.
Don't touch me
I
because
won't eat you.
these living conditions you chose. I'm not fucking with you. Thank you for the meal, but I ain't messing with you
Hey,
like that.
but roaches, aren't cockroaches like a delicatessen somewhere? That, like, they eat them in
Yes.
other countries?
Yes, I actually
So-
just recently looked up fried
roaches?
and they don't look great.
It doesn't sound like they
I was trying to decide between that and possum stew. Those were my options.
Possum stew?
Those were the options I had on Squadcast. It was possum stew or fried cockroaches, and we had to look up both, and I ended up choosing possum stew. Yeah, I was-
Those are big ass rats.
I was 80%
Rat
of the,
stew.
80% of the conversation. I was anti possum stew, and then we saw the pictures, and the cockroaches ain't gonna happen. So check out Squadcast if you want to see how that lined up.
Shameless plug.
Yep.
Check
all the
out
way shameless.
Squadcast if you want to see Patrick eating some.
Nope,
rat
not eating.
stew.
Looking
Rat
at
stew.
looking at people who will eat that.
Is you licking your lips like, rats.
Give me that cockar.
Give me that rat ass.
That cockar.
That cock.
That cockroach.
Ugh.
That's
Roach cock.
that roach cock. All right. Well, this has been another episode of Thick Threads. We hope you have enjoyed this disgustingness.
Absolutely.
It's been a lot of information. But as always, we will see you guys next week. I've been your co-host, Patrick Cloud.
And I'm Persephanie.
We'll see you guys later.